Welcome, everyone, to the first ever RBL Madness Selection Show. I am your host, JR, Caleb, Larry, or whatever you want to call me at this point. I am your host. Did participate in this league at one point or another and then dropped out because I sucked, didn't have time. Came back, beat Zeke, and then lost in the semis of the RBC tournament. But yeah, we're here, going to unveil the field of 16. This probably won't be the most glamorous selection show that we've ever seen. It'll probably be pretty short. This isn't live, it's premiere. But yeah, we're going to get this done. There's a 16-team field, like I said. We already kind of know the cities of the Sweet 16 Elite Eight as Louisville, Charlotte, Cleveland, and Los Angeles. Those are your four cities that are hosting those bids for the right to go to the Final Four. Along with that, we know our four champions from each tournament: Kentucky, UCLA, Ohio State, and Kentucky, UCLA, North Carolina, and Ohio State are your four champions, of the tournaments. But 16-team field, East, South, North, and West are our regions, and we're gonna get underway here. I just muted myself. That's the wrong button. But we're gonna move in here. As you can see behind me, there's the bracket that we will be filling out here momentarily. We know four teams already: Kentucky, Ohio State, North Carolina, and UCLA. Those are the four teams we already know they're in. We got 12 more to fill. So first, we're going to unveil the East region. The one seed, of course, is the North Carolina Tar Heels, 15-1 champions of their conference. They're going to host the 4 seed in the East, which is USC, out of the WAC. UNC, the champions of, I believe, let me just clarify right here. They're the EAC champions. EAC champions hosting a team from the WAC, 5-10 record for USC. Georgia Tech from the Southern American Conference, I believe. No, the Gulf Coast Conference, the GCC. That is where they're from, I believe. Nope, SAC. They are from the Southern. I can't listen. We've got a lot of conferences we've used over the years. Can't remember which ones we used for the RBL, but the SAC is where Georgia Tech is from. The 2 seed in the East, 8-7, hosting the 3 seed from the RBC, 8-7 as well. Nebraska, who fell, I think, in the semis of the RBC tournaments. They will face Georgia Tech. Winner of that will, winner of this region obviously goes to the Final Four. This will be held in Charlotte, North Carolina. This is where this region is. As we move on to the next region, which is the West region, the 1 seed there is UCLA, winners of the WAC Conference Championship, hosting Memphis, 5-11 out of the Southern American Conference, I believe. Then we have LSU, also from the Southern American Conference. So 2 teams from the same conference here. LSU 9-7 fell to Kentucky in the SAC Conference Championship, going to Michigan, who lost to Oklahoma in the Rust Belt Conference Championship in the 4-5 game. They get the 3 seed and are heading to Los Angeles. This is where this region will be held for this tournament. That is the West region, like I said, in Los Angeles. UCLA hosting that region as well. Our next region, the South. And everyone kind of knows what to expect here. The only undefeated team, Kentucky, the number 1 overall seed in the tournament, facing UConn at 8-7 in the Rust Belt Conference, I believe. No, excuse me, in the EAC. UConn, who did not play in the conference tournament, I believe, had to forfeit their game. They will be the 4 seed. Kansas fell late in the championship of the RBC. They're the 2 seed at 8-8, facing Villanova at 7-9 from the 3 seed from the EAC. This region held in Louisville, Kentucky, the South region, for the right to go to the Final Four. Kentucky, number 1 overall seed in the tournament, like I said. And that leaves us with one last region to go. The North region, the host Ohio State, champions of the RBC at 11-5, hosting Texas Tech 4-12 from the WAC. Utah State, runners-up in the WAC as well, 10-6, the 2 seed in the North region, hosting Dayton from the EAC at 6-10 with the 3 seed. And that's your field as we get an overall bracket look. As you can see, North Carolina, UCLA, their regions will face off in the Final Four, and then Kentucky and Ohio State's regions will face off as well. The Final Four is in Houston, and there is your bracket for the first ever RBL March Madness. There is another thing that I'm supposed to announce. It's called the National Shader Tournament, the NST. I guess we're not doing the NIT, we're doing the NST here. And we got South Carolina versus Xavier. The one and only game will be the champions of the NST. So, yeah, we got that to look forward to. But like I said, there's the bracket behind me. You can still see everything. Yeah, North Carolina, UCLA, Ohio State, and Kentucky. Were your champions. Utah State, the only other team outside of the champions to have 10 wins. LSU had to face Kentucky a couple times, especially in the championship game. It was a tough draw for their conference. But there you have it. There's the first ever brackets. And unsure when we're going to get this started. That's all for Mason as he runs his league. But, yeah, there it is, the first ever bracket for RBL. Like I said, this is not the most glamorous selection show ever. It'll get better, especially when I can do it live again. But, yeah, one last look at the selection show brackets. UNC, USC, Georgia Tech, Nebraska in the East. UCLA, Memphis, LSU, Michigan in the West. Kentucky, UConn, Kansas, and Villanova in the South. And Ohio State, Tech, Texas Tech, Utah State, and Dayton rounding off in the North Division or North Region. With that, appreciate you guys watching this video, and we will see you next time for a real selection show in the RFCL, and then once we get back to the RBL and future seasons as well, I will be doing this again. But yeah, appreciate you guys watching, and we will see you. We'll be posting these games. Either they'll be live on the channel or recorded and posted on the channel. So hope you guys look forward to watching that.